Well, guys, Nasruddin versus Imavov just concluded, and when I say it just concluded, it's been 2 days ever since it ended. There's no doubt in my mind when I say that this is one of the best fight cards that we've had this year so far. The event was just so incredibly fun to watch. The prelims were incredible. The crowd was absolutely insane, which was nice to see. And while the main event may not have been all that entertaining for me, it didn't ruin the whole experience. It was nice seeing the French guys get wins in their hometown, in their home country, and a lot of the other fights too. They were incredible to watch as well. Now, I did my homework for this event. I literally wrote down notes for the fights as they were going on, like what was happening, like what each one of the fighters were doing and shit. Like believe me, this was, I don't know why I did this. Like, literally, I don't know why I did this. I didn't need to do this. Now, instead of doing recaps on every single fight, I'm just gonna go ahead and go over some of the most notable moments of the fights themselves. Now, there were definitely some things in this fight card that I expected to happen, like Robert Brychek getting the win against Brad Tavares via TKO, or Sam Hughes beating Shauna Bannon, and she managed to do it by rear naked choke, which was definitely not what I was expecting. I expected her to go the full distance, get a decision win, but that's not what happened. I'm very surprised. One thing I didn't expect, though, is Rinat Fakhretdinov to go in and TKO Andreas Gustafsson in less than a minute in the first round. Now, either I'm an absolute imbecile who underestimated Rinat's striking power, or Andreas got fraud checked in this round, and just to keep my ego intact, I'm gonna have to go with the latter. Like, UFC math just doesn't make any damn sense. It amazes me how Andreas beat Chaos Williams and not Rinat Fakhretdinov. In other news, Kelly Fernandez just sent Harry Hardwick's legs to the shadow realm. The dude literally had to be carried out of the cage via a wheelchair. Fares Yam is definitely watching clips of this fight, and he knows that he dodged a bullet. If he was in Harry's place, he would have been in crutches for the next 5 winters. I know a lot of people who watched the Sola versus McKee fight were complaining about an early stoppage, but in my mind, it didn't necessarily matter. On my notes, I had Alex Sola winning round 1 and round 2. 20-18, so I didn't necessarily feel like it was going to make much of a difference anyways. And this was the fight card where Paul Bearju Craig laid down the gloves and finally retired. It sucks to see Craig go out the way that he did. Bukauskas literally landed that last millisecond elbow to get the fight done, but Paul Craig was an amazing fighter, and his win against none other than Ankalaev himself is definitely going to be remembered for a long time by the UFC community. And Paul Craig, we love you, dude. You are an incredible UFC fighter, especially in BJJ. We're never going to forget you, brother. Now, for Benoit Saint Denis versus Mauricio Rufy, I honestly feel silly. Like literally, this is what I wrote down in the takeaway for that fight. I feel like the UFC community is about to start talking about BSD like he's the next King Von or some shit. And to be honest, I can't really blame him. BSD beating Rufy and Imavov beating Barajo literally just put the fighting nerd's reputation on life support. The French fighters and the Brazilian fighters were literally on some Bloods versus Crips type shit. The French may not be all that good in war, but in the cage, they are just completely different animals. Now, I want to go ahead and talk about the Imavov versus Barajo fight because there's some things that I want to get off my chest regarding this fight. Not naming anything or anyone in specific. For the first round of the fight, Barajo was throwing some pretty solid kicks, and Imavov was capitalizing on Barajo's takedown attempts. These fighters were definitely playing it very carefully in the first round, and I scored it 10-9 for Nasruddin Imavov. And for round 2, Imavov was starting to throw very aggressive strikes. Barajo just continued to kick, and Imavov continued to just attack Barajo, and he wouldn't let him get off the fence, so I scored it 10-9 for Imavov as well. And round 3 is where we start encountering some problems. In round 3, it starts out with Imavov connecting with a hard punch as Barajo slowly starts to move in, and Barajo accidentally hits Imavov in the groin, and Imavov either accidentally or intentionally connects an eye poke, but the fight continues relatively quickly after that, and Caio Barajo, in my mind, won round 3 10-9. Round 4, there wasn't necessarily all that much to talk about, but I did score it 10-9 for Nasruddin Imavov. In round 5, Imavov poked Caio in the eye and stuck a finger up his nose at the same time, and how Marc Goddard did not deduct a point from Imavov after his second eye poke of the fight is beyond me. And the fact that some absolute troglodyte of a judge managed to score that fight 50-45 just goes to show how there is a big dick sucking problem where judges will give fighters bias just for being from their home country. Like, fine, I get it, Imavov beat the doggy bender, but like, dude, that fight was not that impressive. Get his cock out of your mouth. When I watched this fight, a part of me was thinking that both of these fighters were nowhere near as aggressive as they should have been in this fight. Imavov failed to utilize his power by going in and attacking Barajo, and Caio could not get in there and just fight dirty against Imavov. And when you take a look at what their corners were saying, Imavov's corner was basically going, hey, look, you're the aggressive fighter here. If you just keep on peppering it with punches, he's not going to be able to stop you. And Caio's corner was saying, hey, you just need to go in there. You need to stop trying to fight clean with Imavov. You just need to go in there and start fighting dirty. And I feel like Nasruddin Imavov, he definitely started to fight more aggressive in this fight, but Barajo, I feel like he didn't change his game plan all that much. Now, the fight wasn't absolutely boring. It wasn't a snooze fest like DDP versus Chimaev, but for me, it was definitely underwhelming, and in my opinion, I don't feel like that Nasruddin Imavov is ready for DDP or Khamzat Chimaev yet. Until Nasruddin Imavov starts trying to fight more aggressively with his opponents, I feel like DDP or Khamzat Chimaev could easily just overwhelm him with their striking or grappling. If Imavov gets a win over somebody like RDR, then yeah, I definitely feel like he could go up against somebody like DDP or Chimaev, but until he improves his aggressiveness, because he's definitely got the striking game, I feel like he just needs to start being more aggressive. His coaches were literally telling him in the fight with Barajo, hey, you've got Barajo where you want him, you just need to start being more aggressive. And he started being more aggressive, but nowhere near the level of aggressiveness that he should have been. I feel like Imavov just definitely needs to work on some things regarding his striking and definitely a little bit of his grappling game as well. And when he does that, he can definitely call up Dana White and say, hey, I'm ready for that championship opportunity. I feel like he could definitely become champion, but I feel like now just isn't the time for him. Anyways, that's my short, sweet, and brief commentary of the fight card. I'm sorry if I didn't go over every single fight and every single thing that happened in these fights, but I definitely felt like doing it, but you know, it's midnight, dude. I don't want to do it, and I feel like if I do that, it's going to be like 5 days after the event, and everyone's just going to forget about it, and they're going to move on to shit like UFC Noche, which is coming up pretty soon. But yeah, I just want to get this video out as soon as I possibly can. This UFC Fight Night was incredible. One of the best fight cards we've had in 2025 thus far. The crowd was going ape shit, which was very nice to see. The finishes were nice. We had a lot of finishes in this fight card, and we still have shit like UFC 320, which is about to roll around very soon. I cannot wait for that. I'm definitely going to be making a prediction video about that. But yeah, UFC Fight Night Paris, definitely an incredible fight card. I gotta give that a solid 4.5 out of 10. Marc Goddard, you deserve to be in purgatory for your sins. Anyways, my name is Insomnia MMA. Hope you guys are having a good day, and I'll catch y'all in the next video.